How are you guys? I hope you guys are doing good. It's been a long time. I'm doing well, just busy, always with the kids, but it's a good busy. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my journey with homeschooling. I started homeschooling for my first time on my, well, I wouldn't say on my own. I mean, I did it with COVID, but I don't know, for some odd reason that felt different than what I'm doing right now. Anyways, so going to the homeschooling whole talk, just wanted to give you a little bit of a nutshell of why I'm homeschooling and just my experience with it right now. So last year I had been really been praying to God about what education route I should take with for my kids, because I was having a lot of issues with their public school, their zone public school, and I am not against public schools. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm not. It's just certain counties are different than others, and they have different guidelines, there are different protocols, different curriculum, different teachings. And so the one that where my kids were zoned, it was I didn't really agree with a lot of the things that were being taught and how they were being taught. And so there were a lot of reasons why I left. It's so scary in the beginning, but I'll get to that right now. I had been experiences. Let me just kind of briefly tell you what I was experiencing in public schools. Like my kids were coming home learning a lot about sex. They were getting educated by kids that took phones to school, and they were pulling up things, and the school had purposely kind of blocked the internet, but there was some phone companies that kids had, like AT&T, that you were able to still get into your phone and the internet and stuff. So my kids were getting, at least for my fourth grader, was getting educated way too much, and I was not okay with it because she was not ready for that. And so there was just a lot of things. There was so much bullying. My daughter was getting depressed because there was just the constant bullying and the violence. Safety was it was really bad. There was a kid that took a gun, and these are elementary kids, and pocket knives, and there was just a lot of things that I saw, and I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it will, things will get better. Maybe things will get better. And honestly, they didn't. They were just kind of getting worse by the minute. Give me a moment, okay, Nini? And so I my daughter, she's in fourth grade. She was in a combo class with fifth graders because there was no teachers, and she was losing so much of her education. And so I'm like, my gosh, I noticed that they didn't even assign them homework, and it's then what is she going to school for? And so I was like, okay, let me go get her tested. And so I went to a private school to get her tested, and her test scores were so low. And I'm like, this is not good. Number one, safety is not even a factor. I mean, it's a big factor. Then it's the whole environment. It was just so toxic, and I just felt so bad for the kids that were going there, because a lot of them were being it was just a whole different environment. I don't want to say bash on the school or anything like that. I'm grateful for everything and all the work they put in for the kids, but it just wasn't working for us anymore. I just was seeing more negative than positive. And so, if like I said, my daughter was falling into depression of how bad the bullying was, and she didn't want to go to school, and there was just a lot of things that were just like, okay, you know what, it's time. This isn't good anymore. Like, things are just getting worse. So I was gonna enroll them in private school, but private school is just so expensive, and I have like 4 kids. My other son in high school, he was like, my oldest, he's like, he seemed like he was doing okay. And so also for him, like, he wasn't, like, the school zones, I guess, they were just doing more harm than good, right? And so I'm like, this isn't good. Like, he was just getting in trouble, and I'm like, oh my God, it was just getting heavy with the whole education. It just felt like it was more of a heavy burden than actual gaining, like, making gaining or grasping all the good of it. And so it was a constant fight, like why are we here, like what's going on with like my teenager, why is he like not progressing, it was just the pressures of high school. And I mean, we can relate, we went through it. But anyways, story short, I had been praying for months, and honestly, I never, like, I had even told God, I'm like, God, please, like, I will go crazy if I homeschool. Like, this isn't for me. I was kind of like those moms that were like, okay, I love my babies so much, but like, you guys, I can't wait till it's Monday so you guys can go to school and I can do my things that I need to do. But it was like a big shift, it was a big shift. And I was like praying and praying and praying. I was like, Lord, what do I do? Do I go to private school? If I go to private school, I could potentially work there and get a big discount, but then I'm gonna be stuck there, and I don't want to be stuck. I need the flexibility. I don't want to be a burnt out mom that is just constantly on that just rabbit hole of just, it just felt too heavy of like committing myself, because I have a high schooler, he's 15, and then I have a 4-year-old. So we're looking about, I'm starting, if I do work at the private school, I'm gonna be there for, he's a preschooler to high school, so I'm committing 15 years to work to get a discount. And so I'm like, I can't do that. It's too much. And so I love the environment of the private school. It's so beautiful and so different. And when we went there, I was just like with my mouth open, like, oh my God, like, this is like, is this even real? Because we were just so used to a whole different system. And so when I prayed about it, like, the Lord just led me to do co-op through the faith-based school. And co-op is basically you pay for it's a program, it's a home education program, and they kids can get still to come into school once a week, and they provide for their curriculum. They have field trips, they have club days, they can join sports and certain sports. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool, but I'm so scared. Like, I don't know if I can handle having my kids 24/7, and this is too much. I'm not qualified to be a teacher, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, what am I doing? But anyways, I faced my fears. I'm like, I'm just gonna jump on it. I'm gonna try it, because at this point I had already switched my kids. I was switching my kids like to the good side of town, like a little better district, And I was just exhausting all of my options. And so I was just tired. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take matters into my own hands, and I'm going to be my kids' advocate. I'm going to be their mentor, and I'm going to work really hard with them because, you know, I understand their work. I mean, I've done college work, so I'm like, okay, it can't be that bad. And so, and if I get stuck, like, we have the co-op program, which offers tutoring also. And so I'm like, wow, this is really cool. You have moms that you know are also it's a nice community too for moms too, because you get to come together, you both walk in the same journey. So it's a really, really, really nice program that I really, really love, and I'm so thankful that the Lord led me there. And so I was just really excited for the whole program, and I was so scared, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? My husband was like, are you sure you want to do this? He was more concerned about me and my mental health and how I was going to handle than the kids, you know. And so I was like, no, I got to do this, you know. And so I took up the challenge, and I'm like, let's do this. And got all the curriculum. I have to tell you that in the beginning, man, I struggled for at least good 3 months, because it's a lot of work, you know, a lot of work that they provide. And we were not used to that, because public schools were not giving them homework. They were just doing half a day. Now, I think out of the whole entire day, they were just doing just a few hours, because they had to share a room, like 4th and 5th, they were doing combo. And then on top of that, they had their lunch and then their recess and stuff, so they weren't getting a lot done. So she was falling behind. They were just kind of passing her like to the next level. Like they didn't even care. They were just like, you'll pass, you know. And so I'm like, technically she doesn't pass, so can we just, I need to do this. And I was like, okay, like they can't even, you know, when I had enrolled my kids, I had, you know, a few people were like, well, what about their social life and stuff? And so, I mean, that's just a misconception, you know. My kids get a lot of social time. We're always like doing park days, we do field trips, they get to have class with their, once a week on Thursdays. And then, honestly, like even a lot of the kids that are there that I see, I'm like, these kids do not have no social like issues. Like they are very polite. They are nice. Even my daughter, when she started, she was like, I am not used to all this kindness, Mom. Like this is so weird. It was so weird for me too. Like my gosh, like it's like we had entered like a whole nice, you know. I don't know, it was a really nice experience when we entered. The challenge was like doing the work and keeping up, you know. And so I would write notes like, oh dude, like I'm sorry, I come from public school, like we're struggling here. And so they're like, don't worry. They're very graceful, very understanding, and I love that, you know. And so and you know, I thought about it too, like, you know, when they say that supposedly homeschooling kids are not getting their social, but if you think about it, when you go into school, like they do learning, right? In public schools, they do learning. And then after that, I remember when my kids were telling me, Mom, when I go to lunch, I can't talk. We're not allowed to talk to each other, you know. And so I was like, okay, so the only time that they had to socialize was probably on recess. And a lot of it, like at least my older ones, were just getting social time, but it was like bullied. It was like, you know, learning about things that they weren't supposed to. And so I was like, wow, this is crazy. And so, you know, that was something that I was happy about, that when we started this new place, that they were just like, you can be have lunch with the kids, with your babies. You can volunteer. You're so involved, and like everybody knows everybody. It's just like a beautiful little family. Obviously not perfect, but it's just a nice environment. And so another perk of homeschooling is like my kids are not getting sick all the time. Like I remember like in public schools, they were always getting sick all the time, sick. And I would get those truancy letters all the time, like where's your daughter? You know, I'm like, she's constantly sick. And so I was like, it's nice to know that my babies are, you know, are a lot healthier. And I really truly love the homeschooling. Like I never thought in a million that I was gonna love homeschooling. Never. I was like, I don't know if I could, this is the right thing, but honestly, I would always ask my daughters, what do you guys think about? Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And in the beginning, we struggled having something structured, and you find your rhythm, you find your, you know, your way, your schedule of how to do things, and you just ask the Lord to help you through it, and you get through it. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, I am so thankful for that. You know, I mean, what to homeschool my kids and feed them good healthy meals and finish their homework. Like we have the flexibility to finish our homework, you know, our work, and they're just so like in tune, like, okay, you know, we got to get our work done, and then we have free days, and then those free days we go out, we go just either to the park, to the beach, we hit museums, or sometimes we have just like chill days, or we learn something different. Like my girls started picking up knitting, or not knitting, stitch, and it's just nice. I just love it. I love connecting with the kids, and learning and see what they're learning, and being able to sit there and read calmly, not in a rush, and having to come home. Like I remember years ago when they were still assigning the homework, we'd come home and be like, they were tired and saturated from school, and then having to come home and do more work, and it's like, what about, where's, like, there was no connection. It was just like work. All right, it's time for bed, boom. And here it's nice because one wakes up earlier in the morning, I work with them, and then after that, or we all sit together at the table, we do work, or it's just all very different. Like there's no like there's no like rush to like, okay, we gotta move on to the next thing. And it's like, you know, it's like there's just so much freedom. There is just so much freedom. And honestly, it took me a while to get out of that mentality, because we're just so programmed to think that, you know, public school or schools, it's the way to go. You know, that's what you have to do. And so I'm like, my God, it's not like that. It's not true. Like we can teach our kids and they can thrive. And I am just like, Lord, you have made me so strong through this, because if God, I think if I would have probably chosen to homeschool before, I don't know if I would have been ready, but I think the Lord starts preparing your heart, and He'll show the way. If you're in the thoughts of homeschooling, or you're doubting your public system, sometimes it just doesn't work out for everybody, and it didn't work out for me. And so it took me a while to think, like, am I doing the right thing? Like now it's like, heck yeah, I'm doing the right thing. Like I love this. I'm not going anywhere. We're gonna continue this until the Lord says so, you know, or if God says, yeah, or just financially not okay, but it's just a one-time tuition that you pay, and it's less expensive for sure than private school. And so I was gonna mention to one of my friends had her kids in in private school, and she finds out that the teachers are not accredited, so she's paying a lot of money to private school, and they're not accredited. They're just like, just like saying like, okay, I'm gonna go and teach at private school. And so she's like, I'm gonna pull them out, I'm gonna save that money, and I'm gonna teach them myself. I mean, I'm not accredited either, so I might as well do it. And so she did, and she was happy she did, because that extra money that she was putting in, she's a stay-home mom, but she's using it for other resources for her kids, for their learning. And so just wanted to throw that out there. If you do plan on putting your kids in private school, make sure that the teachers are accredited and they have the right prerequisites or certifications to teach children if you're going to pay that much money. I'm just so grateful that I'm here. We have hard days. I have days that I'm like, oh God, I'm overwhelmed a little bit, because there's other things that I'm doing, or all the because it's 4. But I'll talk a little bit about my teenager on a different video, because he didn't start homeschooling when we started. He started in January, and I'll just talk a little bit about that and how I'm navigating my teenager, how we're doing things with him and stuff. So I'm just grateful to have all my 4 babies, and we're making memories, and I get to be in their memories, they get to be in mine, and now, yes, not every day is perfect, but man, I get to cherish and have that, and it's just like, oh, I love it. And what inspired me was the mother of Edison, the one who created electricity, and she homeschooled him like at a very young age, and my God, he became a legend. And so I just I hold on to those stories, and I'm like, homeschooling's not for everybody. Not everybody, it's not for everybody, and but if you're in the thoughts of it, pray about it. If you're not happy with the school system that your kids are going through, or you're going to right now, explore the options and see what you guys can, what works good for your kids, because not everything that we are taught and that people teach us is what we should do, because sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. But anyways, I will end it here. I've been kind of at this for a while. I just want to talk a little bit about my journey, and I will do like small reels of what I do and what my day goes about with my kiddos. And yeah. All right, guys, thanks so much for hearing, and have a great day. Bye. See you next time.